Hi there, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I've had an amazing morning with some beautiful sunrise light with some dramatic fog thrown in. Do you remember me saying this in last week's video? I thought about going to the beach, doing some beach photography, but I've just been down to Cornwall. I've done enough coastal photography of late. Where am I heading today? Well, of course I'm going to the coast. Why? Well, why not? You coming? No doubt you're watching, thinking that this is going to be the same old video from me as I head out towards the coast right about now, but I can guarantee you it isn't. Keep watching to find out. So a couple of months ago, I did a video here on YouTube where I compared my current Canon RP with my old DSLR, my Canon 1100D. I didn't expect to use that old camera again, in all honesty, but I was thinking the other day, why not get it out again? Why not take it out? Just sitting on the shelf collecting dust for the time being. Why not use it more? And the reason I got thinking that was when you see all these videos on YouTube, photographers going out, a lot of us kind of use the newer gear, the more expensive gear. Now, my equipment, it's nothing to shout home about, but at the same time, it's worth pointing out that this camera here, you can buy it used on mpb.com. They're not sponsoring this video, not yet, unless you want to get in touch. You can buy this camera on there right now, second-hand, in excellent condition, I might add, for £100. This kit lens is a rubbish kit lens. Don't bother with this. But if you wanted to get a nice kit lens, which is an 18 to 55mm, of course, this is a crop sensor camera, so you're not looking at 18 to 55mm. I'll put on screen again what the actual focal length would be on a full frame camera. But if you wanted something to start out where, of course, you've got the power to zoom in and out, you don't have to move with your feet, you're looking about £50 for that. Now, of course, it's not the best second-hand equipment that you could buy. You could probably buy even better for around the same sort of price. But it's just the emphasis I wanted to put on this. This kit here now is worth £150. If you're into phone photography, if you want to take your photography to the next level, like I did once many moons ago, you can't go wrong with an old camera like this. It just helps you decide whether you actually want to get into the hobby in a serious matter. And if you don't, then you've not wasted thousands of pounds buying new gear. And it just helps you understand the fundamentals of getting onto manual mode, if that's something you want to do. So we've got our shot here in the distance. The fog is slowly lifting. It's been really foggy around here this morning. We've kind of got this river leading us out into the low tide. The sun is rising to its zenith over on the right. What are we looking at here? Well, ISO 400 f8, and that gives me at the moment a shutter speed of 1/320th of a second. Like I was saying last week, with the shutter that high, we don't really need the ISO that high either. So let's bring the ISO down to 200, which then in turn allows me to bring the shutter down to 1/60th of a second. We've got no image stabilization on this lens, so of course just need to be extra careful. I'm just exaggerating the shutter speed a little bit more than what I would normally do if I was using my Canon RP. So the story behind today's video is going back exploring my photography roots. So with that in mind, I'm primarily shooting in JPEG format today. Whether you shoot in RAW, whether you shoot in JPEG, it's one of the oldest arguments between photographers. I find that if you're not going to edit your images, JPEG's the way to go. If you're going to edit them, if you want to put your own style, your own stamp on an edit, then by all means use RAW, which is what I use most of the time. And of course, it's worth pointing out that most cameras these days, they come with some lovely built-in colours. So if you choose JPEG, your images are going to look amazing regardless. But I'm sure that old JPEG v RAW argument, it's something I'll cover in a bit more detail in a future video. So the reason for this location today, this location being All Hallows on Sea, as I've mentioned in the past, the price of fuel these days, I can't risk going out to a location and it not working out. I have to be really certain that when I go out to a spot, I'm going to be able to get some nice images. I can't go out on a whim these days at the moment. Although the sunrise, as you saw that I got this morning, the fog that I didn't expect to get this morning, and even now in the distance, it's only just disappearing completely. I didn't expect either of those two things this morning, and it enabled me to get some dramatic shots. The sun's now really rising, so we're getting some harsh light, meaning I'll probably be on my way home after this final shot. But this shot here was the main reason I decided to come to this location. I've been in this vicinity before now in the past. And I just remember this one solitary beach. It's not a perfect beach, it's got a bit of grit to it. The tide's out, so we don't have the beauty of doing any long exposures today. Fair play, because of course I've not bothered using the tripod. But all I wanted, I love how the bay kind of curves its way around, and you've just got like this little bit of sandy beach here in the middle. So what I wanted to try and focus on is, you've of course got the path disappearing over here to the right. I wanted to just try and get a nice little bit of a panorama. From here, the path disappearing off shot, the beach kind of in the middle, and then of course the bay kind of leading you around to the sea. Of course, it's going to be a little bit difficult, I find, with this camera, because of course I'm not used to it as much. So the image might not come out how I'm hoping it to. But I'm going to put the live view on to try and make sure I can see a little bit better. Of course, gives me the grid I can work out and ensure that that horizon line goes on that top horizontal. Make sure I get everything in focus. So we're shooting at ISO 200 today, and at the moment, what does that give me in terms of a shutter? It gives me a shutter of 250th of a second. I'm shooting at f8, so I'll get everything nicely in focus. I think because of course the shutter is so high, I can probably afford to come down to ISO 100, which means I'll be shooting about ISO shutter speed of 1/160th of a second. Let's see how that looks. I have to remember as well that of course the camera doesn't do the exact same thing as what the RP does at times. So there's our first shot, there's our second, and there's our third. We'll do one more just to make sure we get enough of the horizon in the distance disappearing beyond the bay. I hate if I'm doing like a panorama like that, if of course the end of the shot ends where the bay does. You kind of want to see, you want that pointy bit at the end of the bay pointing towards the infinity of the horizon. But here's that final shot, and I think that's me done for today.